185 years into the future, humankind has reached the stars, colonized several star systems, clashed with an enormously powerful alien empire, and survived against all odds. It has not won anything yet, but it has survived. An uneasy truce with the Ur Hegemony has utterly transformed the political and military landscape of the human sphere. Humanity's former alien adversary is now an unwelcome ally, another force to be taken into account when it comes to forming alliances and strategizing. But at what cost? However, the situation on the outskirts of the human sphere is not any better. Shinju, the newly discovered planet that is coveted by all, has been treacherously seized by the Greater Independent Japan and its military force, the JSA, from the hands of Oceania, the preeminent international power. The wealth of ancient artifacts from a bygone civilization that thrived on this forsaken planet is beyond measure, considering the competitive advantage that any technology found there could bring to the table. And even if the JSA has control over the majority of the planet, the other powers of the sphere, as well as the combined army, have established their own outposts and plan to expand their territories using deniably covert actions. Oceania relies on its kestrel colonial force to carry out these clandestine actions, and because of this, they have become the main adversary of the Shinden Butai, the JSA's branch on Shinju. A peaceful future for humanity has never been more in doubt than it is at this moment. The capital planet of humankind, Concilium Prima, has been ravaged by the Tazeki digester, and with the combined army entrenched in the very heart of the human sphere, the danger of being completely annihilated is quite real. Whether the aliens succeed in grabbing the mysterious artifact or their plans are ultimately thwarted. It appears to be a no-win situation, but this does not mean that O12, the future United Nations, is just going to let this happen on its watch. Its brand new Torchlight Brigade will be unleashed to show the true level of its commitment to the human sphere. As for Paradiso, it is no longer a planet at war, but that does not mean that it is not disputed any longer, because all humans desire to regain the territory and the resources the combined army appropriated from them. So the behind-the-scenes conflict there is continually ongoing. In this context, it is the intelligence services and the Special Operations Commands who script the course of history under a veil of secrecy with their furtive operations and covert actions. The war for domination and primacy in the human sphere still rages on, but in a surreptitious and decidedly underhanded manner. Never has an infinity code been more appropriate to classify this precarious state of affairs. Massive, internationally owned trade ships use wormholes to jump from one star system to the next in a network of looping routes known as circulars. Circulars are administered by an intergovernmental organization called O12, an offshoot of the United Nations that has been vested with greater autonomy and capacity to enforce its decisions than its predecessor ever had. A single artificial intelligence named Aleph is allowed to exist with the purpose of aiding O12 to maintain the fragile balance of power. With its unfathomable power and its ubiquity across the human sphere, Aleph has become indispensable for the powers that be, even as they struggle amongst themselves. The old nations slowly agglomerated into a few great federated blocks and claimed as their own those star systems that could sustain human life. These new superpowers, although mightier than the old ones ever were, are still motivated by the same compulsions that have always driven human history: living space, resources, and power. Coexistence is hard when everyone is competing for the same things. Friction is constant, and confrontations, open or covert, high or low intensity, brief or prolonged, are commonplace. These are not dull times to be a soldier. Oceania is the number one, the greatest power in the human sphere. It has the most planets, the healthiest economy, and the most advanced technology. Oceania is a true melting pot of cultures that, with their pragmatic and generous character, consider themselves the defenders of the Western traditions of democracy and welfare. Pan-Oceanians are a proud people who might come across as slightly conceited with their constant reminders of the technological superiority of their society and particularly their army. Its challenger, its perpetual opponent, the other great power, is Jing, the Asian giant. The whole of the Far East, united under the banner of what once was China, has produced an integrated but heterogeneous Oriental culture. Equipped with a blooming industrial sector, state-of-the-art technology, and astounding economic growth. Jing is ready and willing to demand the dominant position to which it feels entitled. Haqqislam, the new Islam, is a minor power spread across only a single planetary system, Burak. Haqqislam has built a culture around a humanist, scholarly version of Islam that is in constant contact with nature and rejects all fundamentalism. Biomedical science and terraformation are the two pillars of their development, and Haqqislam is home to the best academies of medicine and planetology in the human sphere. The Nomads are a coalition of 3 colossal ships, whose inhabitants, dissatisfied with a society run by faceless macroeconomic interests and the AI Aleph, decided to break away and create their own societies in space, moving between systems and trading with the locals. Tunguska lives off the traffic and storage of information, Corregidor offers skilled labor at competitive prices, and Bakunin specializes in all that is exotic, illegal, or both, from fashion to nanoengineering. Ariadna was founded by the descendants of the first human colony ship, thought lost when it disappeared into a wormhole. Isolated on an unknown hostile planet, Ariadnans, mainly Cossack, American, Scottish, and French in origin, became a tough people. Now that the human sphere has regained contact with them, the Ariadnan nation strives to be recognized and respected despite its technological impairment. After the uprising that liberated it from Jing's yoke, Greater Independent Japan was totally dependent upon its allies. Determined to regain its past glory, it would seize a large part of the newly discovered planet of Shinju, earning the enmity of the rest of the sphere. But a society rebuilt around the way of the samurai, with an army like the JSA defending it at Katana Point, fears no one. Acknowledged or not, whatever battlefronts can be pinpointed are mainly located on those planets or systems begrudgingly shared by more than one nation. Cold, hard Svalaheimer, the suffocating jungles and devastated cities of Paradiso, the thick woods of Dawn, the endless void around Human Edge, and the arid territories of Shinju. Some of these names are newly coined. Already they have a long history written in blood. The escalation of violence has given rise to numerous non-aligned armies, which comprise military forces from small powers and mercenary companies, to the dismay of O-12 and Sword 4, its well-equipped but small military police force. And while humanity devours itself, a new threat, perhaps the most fearsome that's ever been, has managed to establish a foothold in the human sphere. A combined army of several alien races, united under the banner of the Ur Hegemony and led by the evolved intelligence, a supreme artificial intellect with ancient origins and ambitions of conquest over any race that crosses its path. This is a virtually unstoppable expeditionary force that has taken hold of lands on several planets and has become an uneasy ally after a truce signed only for its own interest, a situation that could change at any moment.